Hello and welcome back to the Declarative Academy. In this Winter 26 update, we're digging into identity management, what's changed, why it matters, and how to use these updates to make sign-ins both safer and smoother. We'll cover headless user discovery for more flexible login experiences, a shift from triple DES to AES for stronger SAML encryption, better visibility into suspicious access with the login anomaly event, a new no-code way to handle SSO user registration using Flow, and a handful of session and usability improvements that give you more control without making life harder for users. And at the end, we'll run through a quick quiz. Let's start with headless user discovery. Most login experiences assume users know their username. In the real world, they usually don't, and they shouldn't have. 2. With headless user discovery, you can let users sign in using a more natural identifier like an email address, phone number, order number, or case number along with their password. Behind the scenes, you create an Apex class that implements auth headless user discovery handler. That handler takes the identifier your app sends, finds the matching user, and hands that identity back into the login process so the user lands where they're meant to be. This is especially useful for B2C and partner experiences. Imagine a headless e-commerce app where a customer enters an order number and password and goes straight to their order status. No, what's my username? Detour. It also fits nicely into password reset flows. Your app sends the identifier to the services auth headless forgot password endpoint, Salesforce issues an OTP, and the user completes a secure reset using the same identifier they already recognize. To connect it all, you configure the handler in Experience Cloud settings, and your headless app passes the identifier using the login hints parameter to the right OAuth endpoint. The big idea is simple. You design authentication around the details users actually know without weakening security. Next, a security change you don't want to ignore. Salesforce no longer supports triple DES for encrypting SAML responses. Even if things appear to be working today, the direction is clear. Move to AES 128 or AES 256 so you're aligned with modern cryptography and you avoid avoidable disruptions later. What you do depends on your role in the SSO relationship. If Salesforce is your identity provider, review the block encryption algorithm setting in your connected apps and replace any triple DES selection with AES. If Salesforce is the service provider, you'll need to work with your identity provider to ensure they encrypt responses using AES, and you may also need to refresh your assertion decryption certificate depending on how your setup is managed. Either way, this is one of those small configuration changes that has a big payoff in long-term stability and security. Now let's talk monitoring. The login anomaly event gives you a way to detect sign-ins that don't look normal, things like unusual locations, unexpected devices, or sign-in patterns that break a user's typical behavior. These records are stored in the login anomaly event store, which means you can query, report, alert, and respond. From an architect's perspective, the value is in how easily this plugs into a wider security strategy. You can route anomalies into existing monitoring tools, correlate with identity provider logs, and trigger follow-up actions like step-up verification or temporary access controls when something looks off. It's a practical way to move from we log authentication events to we actively spot risky access. Provisioning users during SSO sign-in often meant writing Apex registration handlers. Winter 26 makes that much simpler. You can now build registration handlers using Flow, which means you can provision or update users declaratively for many common scenarios. When you configure an authentication provider for Salesforce or an Experience Cloud site, you can use the authentication provider user registration flow template. It includes two useful invocable actions: get user data from JSON string, which helps you pass nested token or user info payloads, and generate user data, which helps you populate required fields when the IDP doesn't provide everything you need. The flow typically follows a clean pattern. You pull user attributes from the IDP payload, check whether the user already exists, create the user if they don't, update details if they do, and then assign access, like permission sets, without getting tangled in mixed DML problems that can show up in code-based approaches. Once your flow is ready, You assign it as the registration handler in setup under authentication providers, then test sign-ins for both new and returning users to confirm mapping and access rules behave the way you expect. Apex is still there for edge cases and very bespoke designs, but for most orgs, Flow gets you to a working, maintainable solution faster. To round things out, Winter 26 includes several smaller identity improvements that are easy to miss, but genuinely useful once you know they are there. One of the biggest is more flexible JWT-based access token timeouts. You can now set timeouts up to 12 hours and scope them at the app, profile, or org level. And importantly, if both profile and org settings exist, the profile setting wins, so you can apply tighter controls for higher risk audiences without forcing the entire org into the same session experience. Account setup flows are smoother too. If a user misses the initial welcome email setup step, they can restart the process within 7 days, which tends to reduce support tickets. OAuth and SAML errors are clearer, including messages for invalid OAuth scopes and expired SAML in response to values. You'll also want to plan a move from single configuration SAML to the multiple configuration framework, which scales better as your identity landscape grows. Finally, a couple of small but important safeguards. New orgs now surface all available identity verification methods by default, so users can choose what works for them. Security questions require at least 5 characters, and zero-width spaces are no longer allowed in usernames, preventing the kind of invisible typo that's painful to troubleshoot. And that's everything you need to know. Let's take the quiz to consolidate our understanding. Question 1. What is a key benefit of Salesforce's headless user discovery feature? A. Users must always log in with a standard username. B. Users can log in with multiple identifiers, such as email, phone number, or order number. C. Users are restricted to logging in via SAML only. D. Users can bypass passwords entirely. Correct answer. B. Headless discovery supports familiar identifiers plus a password, which reduces friction in headless experiences. Question 2. For organizations using Salesforce as an IDP and updating triple-des settings to AES, what should they do? A. Review the block encryption algorithm setting in connected app configurations. B. Implement a new Apex class for encryption. C. Configure flow-based registration handlers. D. Analyze login anomaly event data. Correct answer. A. Update the connected app encryption algorithm to AES and coordinate certificate changes if needed. Question 3. What type of activity can the Salesforce login anomaly event help administrators detect? A. Changes to metadata in Scratch orgs. B. Suspicious login attempts. C. Incorrect Apex code patterns. D. External system data exceeding row limits. Correct answer. B. It flags unusual sign-in behavior so you can investigate and respond. Question 4. What is a key advantage of using flow-based registration handlers for SSO? A. Users must be provisioned manually for each login. B. Registration handlers can only be built using Apex code. C. Administrators can provision or update users declaratively without writing Apex. D. Only one user can be registered at a time. Correct answer. C. Flow can handle user creation, updates, and access assignment without Apex for most scenarios. Question 5. Which enhancement helps administrators better balance security and usability for sessions? A. Configuring JWT-based access token timeouts at the app, profile, or org level. B. Limiting SAML to a single configuration framework. C. Disabling password resets for 30 days. D. Requiring zero-width spaces in usernames. Correct answer. A. Scoped JWT timeouts give you much more precise control without forcing global changes. Summary and key takeaways. To wrap up, headless user discovery lets users sign in with identifiers they actually recognize. Switching SAML encryption to AES strengthens security and helps future-proof SSO. Login anomaly event adds real visibility into suspicious sign-ins. Flow-based registration handlers reduce code and speed up SSO provisioning. And the session and identity enhancements give you more precise control while keeping the user experience clean. Thanks for watching. If this was helpful, give the video a like, subscribe for more admin-friendly Salesforce tutorials, and drop any questions in the comments. We read them all. See you in the next one.